Can you please, I'm sorry, give us a schedule for someone who's staying at home, Ramadan wise? Can you give us a daily schedule, just one day, and his family are at home with him? He's not working. Can you just give
Mm.
us an insight? How should you spend your day in Ramadan?
Yes, Sheikh Kareem, I am more in need of hearing that answer from you than they are hearing it from me.
You
So
gotta say it, Sheikh.
I'm gonna give you the mic. I thought this show was Ask Kareem. It's not Ask Live. So I'm gonna turn the mic. I have some suggestions, but I honestly because it seems like you actually thought of an answer to that question. I want to hear what you have to say, and I'm going to add some things to it.
Ah, no. All right. I it's really, in my opinion, is a very challenging, for somebody like myself who used to fly all the time, traveling. Now I'm spending more time with my children. I'm finding out things about them that I did not even, and it's very interesting. Some of these things are really good, and some of them are, where are you? I think the first thing that we need to focus on is the family the concept of togetherness. Like, let's try to do things together, and that can be manifested in the five daily prayers, always jama'ah, don't skip one, and daily iftar and daily suhoor. I think that will promote that spirit, and of course, once it comes to Taraweeh, but not everybody would qualify for that because of the. But I was really more interested in getting your input regarding education. Like, should you make the Quran the main theme here, like every night, or should you go in teachings them in teaching your family tenets of the religion, like the belief system, like the what is going on in the world, and all of that, and maybe that's your input there, inshallah.
طيب, Jazakumullah khair. Uh, uh, my thoughts on this are very scattered. So I'm going to say some of the things I have on my mind, and then hopefully the listening audience will be charitable enough to give me a pass on not having thoroughly thought this through, because the reality is that I'm going to throw this out there. We're people just like everybody else, except that I think that we are busier now, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best,
Mm-hmm.
but we are busier now
Oh.
because we than we were before, because there are more people who now need guidance and they need
Mm-hmm.
counseling, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is for some people. They need marital counseling because they've never been with their spouse this long ever, and they're figuring out stuff like, man, I didn't notice about this person, and
List
uh,
me, please, list me. No, no.
so let's move on to Ramadan.
Right.
Um, let's start with the beginning of our day, which will be suhoor. Uh, I think it's very important that we have our suhoor together, and that we remind each other on a daily basis that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Tasahharu fa inna fi suhuri baraka." That tasaharu, eat the pre-dawn meal, because in suhoor there is barakah. Do you know that a lot of us eat suhoor and we don't realize that it's the last third of the night, and that this is the time when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes to the lowest heaven, and he calls out, who from amongst my servants is seeking forgiveness,
Beautiful.
so that I can forgive them. This is suhoor time. At suhoor time, what are we doing? We're eating, we're stuffing our faces. Yahi, remember this time. This time itself is a blessed time. We need to remind ourselves of that every single day. And we can use suhoor to develop a larger principle in Islam, which is that النيات تحول العادات إلى العبادات. That through intention we can turn normal mundane activities into acts of ibadah. So we're eating suhoor because the Prophet ﷺ told us to eat suhoor. right? And that because in that suhoor is barakah. So if that's our intention, we're going to get the barakah of the suhoor. We're going to get the blessing of following the sunnah of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. And we're going to start training ourselves that I'm not just eating here because I'm not going to be able to eat for the next 15 hours or whatever it is. I'm actually eating right now because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told me to do so, right? So use that suhoor time, and we should remind ourselves of that every suhoor. Don't get bored of reminding, ourselves of that, and to remember that that's a magnificent time for dua. And if we do as the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam did, which was to stop, as Zayd ibn Thabit radiallahu ta'ala anhu said, that the time between the suhoor of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam and Fajr was qadr khamsina ayah, the time that it would take to read 50 ayahs, which Al-Hafidh ibn Hajar rahimahullah said was approximately 4 minutes, maybe 5, maybe 6 minutes. But if we stop a little bit before, the time for Salat al-Fajr, and we just use that time to make dua, subhanallah, that's a blessed time to make dua, subhanallah. So start your day like that. Obviously, follow that up with the rak'atay al-Fajr, which is the 2 sunnahs before Fajr, and get the entire family used to praying those sunnahs
After the adhan.
After the adhan.
Yes.
And that's the other point.
Right.
It is actually sunnah to call the adhan no matter where you are, even if you're not in the masjid. And so we should revive that sunnah. So have somebody, call the adhan in the house, then pray the 2 rakats, and then pray Salat al-Fajr. Yani the point is that we
So
want
the brothers who have this loudspeaker at home, no, they should actually, because it's
no, they should actually call it, right?
Call it,
Physically call the adhan.
Okay.
Yani, there's a great reward in calling the adhan, and the people in your home who are listening to you, they should follow after you, like they will follow after the mueddin, because you are the mueddin now. We don't that you can't call it in the masajid, right?
No.
So here, look, man, subhanallah, just in that little time right there, look how much is actually being done. Okay, so there are some recommendations that I have. How a person includes them in their day is going to be different from person to person. But number one, I think that as a family, people should be reading the tafsir of the Quran, not just the Quran itself. And I'm recommending Tafsir al-Sa'di, commonly known as Tafsir al-Sa'di.
Is it in English now? Is translated?
Complete.
Allahu
Complete,
Akbar.
alhamdulillah. And it's available. It's available on PDF.
How many books do we know? How many?
It's 10 volumes.
Oh,
10 volumes. Each volume has 3 juz.
No.
And the reason why I'm recommending it is because it's more suitable for a broad audience. Tafsir ibn Kathir can get pretty involved and get involved in the ahkam and so forth. So that's for a different audience. Tafsir al-Sa'di is very accessible across the board, inshallah ta'ala. So I think that trying to understand the Quran is very important. So, if the family, even if they don't read a juz together, maybe that takes too much time. Maybe they set a time limit where we read together for 30 minutes. I also think that it is super critical that the family as a whole try to learn certain prophetic dua, because Ramadan is a month of dua as well. And it is no mistake that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put that important ayah dealing with dua in the middle of the passage that deals with the month of Ramadan. So there's only one passage in the Quran that deals with Ramadan specifically.
وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي.
And right there, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ. If my servants ask you about me.
Dr. Wade is saying, out of the 5 verses in Surah Al-Baqarah which address the subject of fasting, comes this verse in the middle. Yeah.
Comes that verse, right?
Yes.
And so that verse says, if my servants ask you about me, I am near. I answer the prayers of those who call upon me when they call upon me.
And the hadith دعوة الصائم عند فطره. نعم.
mustajab, that da'wah, yani للصائم, the one who is fasting has a da'wah that is answered. He has a prayer that is answered. So I'm saying that we should take the time in Ramadan, especially adhkar al-sabah wal masa.
Yes, yes.
The
I was gonna
the
comment.
those specific du'as and adhkar that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would make in the morning and make in the evening. And the reason why I think those are the most important ones that we can focus on in the month of Ramadan is because Ramadan is also about building habits.
Yeah.
And if you memorize these du'as, you're going to be saying them every day. You're going to be saying them every evening, and that habit will carry over to after Ramadan, inshallah ta'ala. So I think that it's very important that we focus on those du'a, and and it, and if we are able to do that, and people are able to do that as families, then this is something that will solidify it, make it even more likely that they'll stick to it, inshallah ta'ala. Obviously, individually, we should set aside time for our recitation and revision of the Quran. And for those people who have not memorized the entire Quran, which is more than those who have, uh, they should make some goals for themselves in the month of Ramadan. So they might make a goal to memorize, for example, half a juz in Ramadan or something. Right? Put some pressure on yourself to do
Mhm.
some memorization. And the reality is with the different websites that are out there now, like muqri.com, for example, muqri.com. I think that's a very nice one for English speakers
Mhm.
because it allows you to just play one ayah as many times as you like. You can recite back to it. It'll help you even if you don't have somebody around you that is
I
proficient in
that
memorizing the
you
Quran.
have to go. I think you satisfied this, mashallah. That's a small portion right here, man. I mean, what about if we spend the rest of the day? Should come a
Yeah.
little booklet about your daily Ramadan routine. That's beautiful.
Uh,